Okay, so here we go with the lesson 4.03 video. This lesson is about developing forms. So in this lesson, we're going to go back to the same business that we used for lesson 4.01 and 4.02, but this time you're going to create forms for your business. I'm sure you've all used a form at some point. Maybe some of your teachers use Google Classroom or Google Forms and have you fill out surveys or electronic forms. So that's what we're going to create with this lesson. So you can do this by creating tables. This is the definition of table. It's a grid of columns and rows. Tables can actually be created in any Office program. You can use tables in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or Access. For just a general information table, use Word. That's usually just a table that has information for someone to read. For a table that includes calculations or charts, Excel is used, and for sorting and searching capabilities, use Access. So you'll learn more about those different programs, Excel, in the next unit. Access you won't get in this portion of the class that you're taking. It's taught later in a later unit that you won't take since you're only taking half of the course this year. Okay, so by the time you finish with this lesson, you're going to know how to utilize advanced features of word processing and software, including developing forms, utilize word processing software to develop business documents, describe an electronic form, and define input fields. Okay, so on to the Learn section. So we have to have Flash Player for part of this. I'm not sure if this video will work for you without it. I'm just going to go ahead and enlarge it and play the video for you. Maybe. Let me try this again.
Before we talk about tables, let's look at some form templates in Word. Click on the round office button, New, and you will find some templates listed that you may find useful. Under Forms, there are several different categories listed. Let's look at personal forms. And here are some examples. Most forms were created using some type of table structure. So let's talk about tables. A table sets up a grid of columns and rows. In Word 2007, you will find tables under the Insert tab. And there are several different ways that you can create a table. Insert Table. And you can tell it how many columns go up and down, and how many rows you would like. And click OK. You will find most of the items you need to work with your table in either the Design tab or the Layout tab. Here are some table styles, but you can apply shading yourself. Let's go to the Layout tab and review some things, such as merging cells. To merge cells, block the cells that you would like to merge, and it will make one big cell out of several little cells by using the Merge Cell feature. Now it's just one cell. To the left of Merge Cells, you will see where you can insert columns or rows if you find later that you don't have enough of either in your table. Now let's look at text direction. It changes the text direction within the selected cells. So let's select this cell. Now let's look at table properties. If we want our title to be centered in the middle of a large cell, we can use the Center feature. There's also a formula feature in the Word table. Let's say you have a column of numbers that you would like to add up. Go to Formula to get a sum of the cells above and click OK, and there's your total. You can also sort text within your table. Let's say you have a column of names. Go to the sort feature, and it will sort it alphabetically. Now let's look at the design tab. You probably want the bold lines to be on your screen when you're working with your form, but when you're finished, you may want the table lines to not appear on the screen. So in the design tab, you will see borders. And if you want no border, just click that option and the border lines will disappear. Sometimes when you remove the lines, they may be replaced by blue dotted lines, and that is called grid lines. You can either view grid lines or not view grid lines. So now, are you ready to create a form using the table feature?
Okay, so that was the first little video that plays for you. I don't know about y'all, but to me it almost sounded like somebody was playing the bongo drums in the background. Okay, the next tab is about construction. So this talks about some suggestions for form construction. So make sure you read over this. They give you a little example here. Then it goes on to electronic. Now this is supposed to be a PowerPoint or slideshow, but now it's working. Okay, when I previewed it earlier, it did not work, so call me crazy. Okay, so let's go through this real quick. So if Flash Player isn't working for you. So this is electronic forms. An electronic form is interactive with the user. Users enter information on the screen. It uses fields to collect data. Forms are completed electronically, and they're often integrated with a database. You have different types of fields. They could be text, numeric, a radio button, checkbox, or drop-down list. So text only allows someone to actually type in it. So this might be like for their name. You might want to use a text field for someone to type their name into the form. Numeric, obviously, maybe just phone numbers, address, social security number, something like that. A radio button just gives somebody a choice. Usually you click on this to answer yes or no, or, just choose from a couple options. A checkbox, again, you can check it. You can give somebody multiple choices, like male or female, and they can check a box to choose their selection. And then a drop-down list, a single section box with a list of which only one can be selected. So maybe this could be something like if you want to do this for address, for them to put the city, and maybe you could have choices like New Brockton, Enterprise, Dothan, Daleville, something like that for them to choose from. I'm sure you've all seen those on forms before. Where to find form controls. Here's where you'll find electronic form controls. In Word 2003, they're on the Forms toolbar. You'll go to the View menu, then Toolbars, then Forms. In 2007, they're in the Developer tabs on the Control section. So that I will demonstrate for you a little bit later. And also, it says check with your facilitator. You may not be able to add the Developer tab. So I'm going to show you how to do this and demonstrate, but for some reason it may not let you depending on the settings on your computers at school. So if that becomes an issue, then let me know. The electronic form, though, is not mandatory. You can just create a form with a table in Word without doing electronic. I would like for any of you that are willing to try to create an electronic form. And again, if the developer tab cannot be enabled on your computer, then we just won't worry about it. Okay, but this kind of gives you instructions on how to do it, but I will just show you that. Okay, so that is the slideshow for the electronic forms. And then this is a video on electronic form construction, so I'll go ahead and play this for you as well.
Electronic forms are interactive forms using input fields where the user enters information. I am going to demonstrate input fields in Word 2007. In order to create an electronic form, you must have the Developer tab enabled. So look to see if you have this tab on your ribbon. If you do not, click on the Office button, upper left-hand corner, then Word Options, and look to see if Show Developer tab in the ribbon is checked. If it's not, then check it and click OK. You may not have this capability depending upon the restrictions at your school. Again, adding form controls is totally optional for this assignment, so don't worry if you're unable to add the Developer tab. So on the Developer tab, we will use the Controls group. To insert an input control, place your cursor in the box in which you want the control to appear. If to insert a text control, use rich text or regular text, and there is your box in which the user can enter text. To insert a drop-down box, you can use this control. And then you will have to go to Properties to add the list of selections from which they are to choose. For example, this one is in the State box, so you can add all the states in the United States, and then they could choose the appropriate one. To insert a checkbox, you will find that under Legacy Tools, and it's this one right here. Let's press spacebar and type male. Let's insert another one, female, and then they could check the appropriate one. That's really all there is to adding input controls to your form. Now you're ready to protect your document, and you need to do that so that it can be filled out electronically. So to protect your document, the task pane appears here, and choose Allow Only This Type of Editing in the document. And we want it to be filled out, so filling in forms. And then to start enforcement, are you ready to apply these settings? Say yes, start enforcing protection. That way the user cannot change the form, they can only fill in the items that you specify.
Okay, so she actually gave you instructions, the narrator in that video, for the 2003 version of Word. I do not know which version y'all are on. So I'm just going to demonstrate real quickly. Let me go here to Word. I'm on 2016 on my laptop, but at school I'm on 2010. So there's lots of different versions. They usually all have the same tools. Now you can see I do have Developer enabled already. But on this newer version, you don't have that Office button that the other instructor was talking about. So you would just go to the File button and then to Options. File, Options, and then Customize Ribbon. And I checked Developer over here in the list. Okay, so if yours is not checked, you check it and then click OK. And then Developer will be up here. And you have the same controls that the other instructor was talking about. So you can usually find pretty much everything from the older versions in the newer versions as well. They may just be located in a different place, and sometimes you just have to hunt and click and look for it. Okay, so let's go back now to our lesson. The Try It section of this lesson just has a linked quiz. So this should work for you. You just take the link, go to this quiz, and it is already here for you. All you have to do is click the Start button, and it will look like this and start the quiz. So the directions under Try It just asked for you to complete the quiz and then to take a screenshot of it. So you can do that, and you can attach it on just a blank Word document and turn it in along with your forms. It's not required, but I will give you this chance to do it for a bonus. So if you do really well on the quiz and take a screenshot and turn it in